It is September 20th, and today's interpretation of the market action is pretty simple. We are right up here at resistance at about 1220 or so. And the concept of resistance goes like this. From this base here down at about 1120, 1130, we had this rally up to here. And then everybody that bought from back here now becomes resistance. So this buying pressure is met with this selling pressure. Okay, and the same thing over here. Somewhere around this base, this buying pressure is met with this selling pressure. So the market can't advance. The good news is, if you look at it from down here, from this base to this rally, we had this long of a move from the base to the 50-day moving average. That's just this blue line right here is the 50-day moving average that's now acting as resistance now that we've broken through. But from this base, this rally, we're only this far away from the 50-day moving average. So this time around I have a little bit more conviction that there's a good possibility that we can actually, after a little bit of consolidation, we can actually break out of this resistance level this time around. Whereas right here, since we had to go up, there was a lot of buying pressure that had to push us back up to this 50-day moving average. But right now, it didn't take a whole lot of buying pressure, so the market may still have some built-in buying potential here to push us through resistance. I never count on resistance being broken, but I do think that it's possible. That's one scenario. The other scenario is that the bearish scenario is this. We had this high right here, and now we have a lower high. So that's the first indication that we didn't make a higher high, something like that, that maybe this channel is now broken. Since we didn't get back up to somewhere around this part of the channel before we made a higher low, that maybe now we start to roll over and break down. So that's definitely something to watch out for, and we'll know in the next couple of days. Either we're just going to kind of consolidate here on low volume and then break out, or maybe something like this and then break out, or else we're just going down, and it's going to happen pretty quickly. It'll start looking like this type of a candlestick or this type of a candlestick, and generally what will happen is once we break this day's low, intraday low, right down here at about 1190 or so, that's going to be a good indication that the more bearish scenario is going to play out, and we are in fact going to break down. So that's just what to watch out for. We're right at resistance, but a good possibility that we could break out. Now I look at my leaderboard. All the stocks that I look at on a daily basis was dominated by two drug companies were at the top. Two drug companies, those are defensive medicine cabinet stocks. That's not what we want to see leading the market higher. The banks, probably just an oversold bounce, really low volume here. Home Depot, this is still at, this resistance right here, Home Depot, running up into the 200-day moving average on lighter than average volume, so we can't count on Home Depot to continue higher. Again, a drug company up at the top of the leaderboard, and out of the 45 items in this leader portfolio that I watch, about 13 of them were positive. You can see starting everything up here outperformed the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That was the only index that closed positive on the day. Everything else underperformed and closed negative out of the 45 stocks I watch. So a little more than 2/3 of the leaders that I follow were negative on the day. Netflix was the worst, CF, Cliffs, Walter. These are the stocks that we want to see leading the market. We want to see growth stocks leading, we want to see materials leading, metals and mining, coal companies, growth technology, copper companies, retail technology companies, virtualization technology companies, casinos, retailers, industrials, oil companies, shoe manufacturers, okay, high-end cookware retailers. Those are the kinds of companies we want to see. So right now we can't get too bullish, although we do want to be aware of the possibility that perhaps we could get some kind of further consolidation around right underneath the 50-day moving average before we finally break out. The only thing that gives me hope that that can happen is because we've got really light volume on the pullback. Most of this was an increase in volume here, so there's a good possibility that that can happen, but until it does, you got to be taking profits right here. I sold some of my stuff today, but not all, because I do have hope that we can eventually break out of here. But if we start to go beneath this day's low, like that, then that really decreases the chances that we're going to break out of this resistance and increases the likelihood that we're probably going to go down to break support. So that's it.